I'm ready for our next guest when my team is ready. So would you share with us who you are and what you do to help dentists survive, thrive, and not cry?
I am David Harris. I'm the CEO of Prosperident. And for the past 34 years, Prosperident has helped dentists thrive and stop crying when it comes to embezzlement. And by embezzlement, of course, Paul, I mean staff stealing from the doctor. So when somebody suspects embezzlement, we investigate stealthily so that the staff don't know that we're doing it. We let you know if somebody does have their hand in your pocket or not. And we also work proactively with practices to put the guardrails in place that will lessen the risk in the future.
I love that. I mean, I was talking with you, and this is one of my good friends and sponsors. You know, dentists are very tuned in to being hacked. I want to share, David, we were hacked in my dental office about 7 years ago. And outside of personal difficulties, it was one of the worst 3 days of my entire life. And everything went as well as possible. But we had to send our stuff, computers away, and HIPAA. So it made me think, I'm glad I was protected. And even though I was protected, it was still stressful. We had someone on the call earlier saying business owners may have wildly different views on who's stealing or not. Could you demystify when someone says, hey, David, there's no way someone's stealing from me. My team is like family. I feel like maybe you found out some family stealing before. Can you just help them understand the reality of you can't use feelings to protect yourself?
You know, there's about a 70% chance, 70% chance that a dentist will get stolen from at some point in their career. We all think, Paul, that we are better judges of other people's character than we really are, just like the majority of us think we're above average drivers.
Yeah, yes.
And that's a mathematical impossibility. So dentists use the smell test to hire, and you know they think that they can spot a criminal a mile off, and the statistics suggest otherwise.
And I'll share, I love this reactive and proactive. So just to be clear, if someone's watching us in the group and saying, I feel like this could be happening to me, my deposits are off, something feels off, you've helped my own personal friend, Matt Bickle, they can call you in like the embezzlement cavalry to see what's going on. That's a yes, right?
That is an absolute yes.
But I want to talk for a minute more about this proactive thing, because one of the things you mentioned when you came to meet us last week is, if someone's stealing from you, they're also probably distracted from doing their job well. There's probably other things that are falling apart. So walk me through, use my office. Hey, I want to be proactive, David. I want to hire you to proactively check out my office. Tell me what I'm going to learn. Like, let's say that you find out, hey, Paul, no one's stealing from you, but what else am I going to learn during that process?
A few things. I mean, when we do proactive work, we start by studying your systems. And the first thing we try to do, Paul, is replicate the thought process of an embezzler and see how they would steal in your office. In other words, what procedural weaknesses you have, and let's get there first. In other words, let's not wait for them to find it. Yeah. Let's do that ourselves and fix them. The second thing, and this could include things like how duties are divided up in your practice, how you do pre-employment screening, because in a lot of offices that's really not nearly as well done as it should be. Security settings in your practice management software. Those are all things that we look at. The other piece, though, and the one that people really love, is that we spend a lot of time on what we call practice owner oversight. So that's teaching you something that you probably had no opportunity to learn in dental school, in residency, or anywhere else. And that's how to get your head into your practice management software and really understand what's going on. So what reports should I look at? What should I do with them? How do I get those reports? Because I can tell you, I'm not a fan of a staff member printing a report and handing it to you, because that just opens the door pretty wide for selective reporting.
Yeah.
So we have a fair number of doctors who don't know how to print reports in their software. And even if they did, they wouldn't know which ones to look at. So we work through all that with our client, and they come out of it as a confident practice owner.
I love that. I mean, so basically it's a no-brainer to do one of these two things. Proactively make sure things are going well. And then I bet you there's a dentist watching or listening with a feeling in their stomach thinking something's been off, and just hire you to find out if it's off. I mean, I'm sure, we'll have I'm sure you've been hired by someone who's convinced someone was stealing from, and you said, nope, they weren't. And I'm sure you said, my wife wants me to do this, but I know no one's stealing from me, and say, sorry to tell you, you're being stolen from. Are those two stories accurate?
Yeah, well, let me tell you a story. We got hired a little while ago by a dentist who had realized that a staff member was charging personal items to a practice credit card. And the amount of money that she had identified that was stolen was about $8,000.
Wow.
She called us and we said, if somebody would abuse your credit card, chances are that they would find stealing patient payments or payments from insurance companies to be irresistible. So we probably should take a look at that. Well, $147,000 of that kind of theft later, we were
Wow.
done. So she came to us thinking she'd lost 8,000. It was more like 150,000.
Yeah.
Now, she's not happy that she lost the money, but she's much happier that we looked into it. We confirmed what happened, and we gave her the option or the ability to get some of that money back.
I love it. If I'm being hired here with no monetary value for taglines, your tagline should be, we prevent future pain, because you prevented future pain for her. So no matter how bad the pain is, and that's basically what dentists do too. I do look at patients, David, and I say, hey, David, I know you think it's a lot of money. I know you think it's a lot of time, but it's never going to be less money, less time, less pain than today. And that's how I get patients to move forward. And I think you can use the same strategy for your clients.
You can. And you've heard me say this, Paul. Our biggest competitor sometimes is apathy.
Yeah.
People are firmly convinced that if they ignore this problem, it will just correct itself. And it's just like a patient who needs endo. It doesn't matter how much desensitizing toothpaste they use.
Yes.
Next month or next year, they're still going to need endo. In fact, they probably will need it a lot more than they need it today.
Awesome. Well, I love what you're doing. As you know, people can text Embezzle at 215-543-6454. We'll get you connected with David and your team. Do not sleep. Do not be apathetic on something so important in your dentisting life. Thanks so much, David.
Good to see you, Paul.
Awesome. So you guys are learning so much, from equipment to preventing embezzlement.